We had a staff rotation, which meant that different members of the clinical team cared for different patients already registered on our program. My position in the organization is mostly office-bound. However, any opportunity that I get to go out to assist with patient visits, I very readily and happily accept. In this particular case, I was the translator, as our patient was an elderly Zulu-speaking man. I was most fortunate to have grown up on a farm in the KZN Midlands and learned to speak isiZulu at the same time as learning to speak English. I love being the assistant in the patient visits, as I have the opportunity to be the passenger in the vehicle, so can sightsee and appreciate our beautiful KZN Midlands area. We travelled to an area overlooking a local agricultural college, magnificent views of rolling hills, farm buildings in the distance, and cattle peacefully grazing. What a stunning outlook. The patient's wife and daughters welcomed us into their home and took us through to the patient's room. An elderly man with the odd grey hair on his head, lying tucked up in a warm blanket, with a faint ray of sunshine on the back of his head. I noticed a clean ashtray, lighter, and a cigarette waiting to be lit. We greeted the patient and I spoke isiZulu to him, explaining that I had come to help Sister Nola. I asked if I could help him light a cigarette, as it was obvious that it was meant for him. With shaky hands he held a cigarette and gingerly placed ash in the ashtray. I was very concerned that he might lose the grip on his cigarette and burn a hole in the beautiful blanket. I chatted with Mkhulu while he smoked, commenting on how beautifully his wife cared for him. I said that if it was that I needed care, that I knew where to find the best care. Mkhulu replied to this comment, gesturing that I should lie on the bed with him. We were still in a COVID wave and visits were always undertaken wearing full PPE and following the regulations of prevention of transmission of COVID. I hesitated for, literally, a moment, asking myself, whose need is the priority? I answered my own question and got onto the bed with Mkhulu. His wife and daughters and little grandchild were absolutely aghast, almost embarrassed that I had honoured Mkhulu's request. He chatted quietly to me while I lay on the bed with him, completely oblivious to anybody else in the room. It was as though he had allowed me into his sanctum. He told me that I should visit again, as he liked me. I accompanied Sister Nola at a subsequent visit, and despite his wife and daughters stating that Mkhulu was confused, he recognized us, and it was with that same sense of trusting peace that we shared. He spoke of wanting to go home. In clarifying this aspect with his wife, she informed us that Mkhulu's original home was in the foothills of the Drakensberg, and he had expressed a wish to return there. We later found out that Mkhulu had gone back to his original home, where he later died. I was very fond of Mkhulu, and the manner in which his wife and daughters cared for him was beyond commendable. I continue to value my ability to speak isiZulu, and despite the shock that his wife and daughters displayed at my lying on the bed with Mkhulu, I honoured his expressed wish. Having worked in palliative care for many years, I have learned that patients are unique, and each patient and their family is so different, and the race of the patient is of statistical value only. Rest in peace, Mkhulu. I loved my visits to you.